Joining me now from Washington, D.C., president of Judicial Watch and author of the new book, A Republic Under Assault, The Left's Ongoing Attack on American Freedom, Tom Fitton. Tom, it's great to see you. Tom, obviously there's a lot to unpack here, but first I'll get your reaction to this missing package that was open and they couldn't find the contents of it that had sensitive material for Tucker, and he needed that for his show that night. And then all of a sudden, after he puts him on blast on television, all of a sudden they find it.
Trust no one. There's been extraordinary interference in the investigation of Hunter Biden, and let's not pretend that intervening in the mails is beyond the resources of either protectors of Biden or, frankly, within the delivery service activists. Obviously, have much easier access, and Tucker and company are well known. And once they got an idea potentially that he had information going through that service, how easy it is to intervene is obvious.
Yeah, I think it'd probably be pretty easy to find out. I mean, somebody who works there could probably let us know if there's like cameras in that room where they found the sensitive materials or et cetera. So it seems kind of weird that they wouldn't have cameras, as Tucker Carlson pointed out, in a room where they have so much mail coming through, especially with important pieces of mail.
Yeah, well, the bigger issue is, why was the laptop essentially missing in the FBI for nearly a year? They had it. They didn't bother looking at it, obviously, or they didn't bother pursuing anything about it. Tucker blowing the whistle on what went on is just one additional element in really what is a major cover-up in the government and the Justice Department and the FBI specifically.
What do you think about Bobulinski as a witness? Do you think he's credible?
Certainly he's credible. He's putting his life on the line, according to him, his reputation on the line, because when you come forward in circumstances like this, the opposition is going to go through his background with a fine-tooth comb. And he's facing significant liability, both criminal and civil, if he's lying about what he's talking about.
Yeah, and it's not just his word. There's the laptop that was found in Delaware, then everything that he's provided over to the FBI, from text messages to emails and everything else. And also there's just more information that's coming through showing that a lot of these documents are probably what we think they are.
Well, you've got three streams now. You've got the laptop documents on which have been confirmed by various media outlets, including the Wall Street Journal and Fox News. You have the testimony and other documents from the whistleblower. And then you have the third set of documents that have been produced by one of Hunter Biden's partners from out there in California, who's been incarcerated on fraud charges. So now you've got three streams of evidence coming in. And of course, the government has all of this, and plus they've got material that they know about in terms of transactional data, as referenced in the Senate report, showing transfers and other things like that from Russia, and transfers involving China money as well. So, as you know, we had Rudy Giuliani on. I'm sure you've talked to him as well, Steph. There's more than enough to forget about opening an investigation. There's more than enough to issue indictments against the Biden family.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff we have known for quite some time. I interviewed Rudy Giuliani about a year ago, and he was telling me a lot of the same things that we know today, except over this past year, he worked harder to get more information in the hands. And as you pointed out, the FBI has been sitting on this for quite some time. I saw an article from the Daily Caller. It says the New York Post smoking gun Hunter Biden email 100% authentic, according to forensic analysts. So, and that's the email that shows that Joe Biden actually knew about the shady business dealings, rather than him pretending that, oh, I don't know what my kids are up to.
Well, forget about what the emails say. Look at what Hunter Biden said. Joe Biden says he wasn't involved in to talk to his son about foreign business, especially in Ukraine. And Hunter Biden goes on national television shortly thereafter saying, well, yeah, we did talk about it. And my father said, I hope you know what you're doing. So don't take the word of these emails as gospel. You don't have to. You can look at what Joe Biden has said and what Hunter Biden has said on the public record. And now we have the whistleblower coming forward, Mr. Bobulinski. And plus, we have, you've seen the documents we've been uncovering over in the State Department, Steph, where you have the State Department, no friends of President Trump, during the Obama administration, bemoaning the fact that the Russians were trolling Joe Biden on corruption issues because of his son's involvement in Burisma. They call it Burisma is the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. So the FBI is now investigating Hunter Biden for money laundering. Can we trust the FBI?
No. I mean, I think this is the Wiener laptop all over again. They're only investigating because the public disclosure of this information. The FBI can't be trusted to investigate anything politically sensitive these days. And if I were the president, I'd appoint a special prosecutor and have a different investigative agency looking at this material.
Yeah.
And frankly, the FBI needs to be investigated over its handling of the Biden laptop and the other information that they've had about his criminal conduct.
Yeah, it's incredible how fast these agencies move when it comes to targeting anyone in the Trump orbit. They'll send a whole team out to your house if you're Roger Stone in the middle of the night. But when you have all this incriminating evidence, if you will, being handed over from credible sources, all of a sudden it just takes forever and ever and ever.
Well, and the excuse for doing their guns drawn raid on the home of Paul Manafort was that he was destroying evidence. Well, they've got evidence that they were hiding and wanting to destroy evidence and keep material secret from investigators. Why hasn't there been raids on the home of Hunter Biden, or dare I say it, Joe Biden?
Yeah, it's a good question. And how do you think this is going to impact the election? I saw that people were Googling whether they could change their votes. These, of course, some 80 million people have already voted. And after learning about the Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scandal, maybe made them reconsider who they should be giving their vote to.
Well, I don't know exactly how it will impact. We'll know in 5 days. Certainly, the FBI thought it would impact the election. That's why they were holding it back to, in my view, protect Joe Biden and hurt President Trump. If they thought it would be helpful to Joe Biden's prospects, this information wouldn't have been withheld improperly by the FBI and Justice Department. And frankly, in terms of policy, we need to be rethinking early voting as being really at odds in terms of good public policy. The constitutional issues aside of early voting. But the idea that you vote as soon as 45 days before an election, these Biden revelations, I think, should give both sides pause for allowing that to continue.
Yeah, and according to an article here by thehill.com, it says Senator Ted Cruz doesn't think that the Hunter Biden scandal is going to move a single voter. Do you believe that?
No.
I don't know why he would say that.
I don't know. Corruption is the reason, battling corruption is the reason President Trump is president. And the idea it wouldn't impact the election one way or another is, frankly, is just, in my view, ex post facto justification for not doing the work of exposing corruption by the Senate to date. Voters aren't interested in it. That's their excuse for not doing the work.
Yeah, and then
I agree with Senator Cruz on 9 times out of 10, but to hear this rationale that we shouldn't do anything on corruption issues because it doesn't move votes, even if it were true, it's still not a reason not to highlight this and educate Americans about the corruption here in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, I mean,
if it's not going to move votes, it seems to me that's not the issue. The issue is it important that the public know about it?
Exactly. And the thing is, how could anyone vote for somebody who appears to be compromised and is a national security risk for this country? So again, it makes sense why people were Googling whether or not they could change their votes. Really quickly, Judicial Watch is suing for unmasking records on Biden top officials. Where are you guys with that?
Well, we just sued. Biden unmasked General Flynn's name. Why did he do it? What's the reasoning? Where are the documents? The President Obama's chief of staff unmasked. You had all these other top officials who didn't unmask General Flynn's name. And of course, all that was about targeting President Trump as well. So we got the list, and now we want the background. What was the justification? They said it was all on the up and up. Well, prove it and stop hiding the documents from us.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to get your thoughts and predictions for November 3rd. Do you feel like President Trump's going to win this?
Personally, I tend to think you always bet with the incumbent, and I don't see things changing. I don't know what's going to happen in the Senate and the House. My instinct is that Americans are very concerned about corruption and violence, and if I were a Democrat, I'd be asking the party why it is you were trying to scare people from voting in person by suggesting they'll die if they vote in person and get coronavirus. I think they're going to regret doing that. I think it was a terrible policy, and it was voter suppression. And Democrats are probably going to rue the day that they suppressed their own votes. It's unbelievable to me, and we'll see what happens on Election Day.
Absolutely.
Now, Judicial Watch can't say who to vote for or vote against. I'm just giving you my personal. I'm playing political analyst for you here personally.
Yeah, it's a question that everyone asks me all day. Is Trump going to win? Is Trump going to win? I'm like, well, I don't know. I hope so, but we'll see. Anyways,
Well, we're concerned that our Judicial Watch's concern is that if Trump wins, there will be efforts to lawlessly move him from the presidency by manipulating the results or power plays in Congress and such. So that's something that's concerning to us as a rule of law organization.
yeah, well, and we see how Democrats, they play dirty when they can't win. They come up with different schemes to change the rules to benefit themselves. Anyways, Tom, we got to run. Thank you.
You're welcome, Steph.